Hey guys, Josh here. It's Star Trek Thursday, so that means a new episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds has dropped. This is episode 3. Overall, liked the episode. Thought it was pretty good. I really did. Obviously, of course, as usual, I have some nitpicks, so we'll go over those. But yeah, a lot of interesting things were revealed on this episode. It was a classic Trek episode. You know, it was kind of like Naked Time, but with light. So visuals were great, of course. Everything looks beautiful on the show still. It's really been able to maintain that, the look, you know, the pilot had. Pilot probably had a little bit better of a look. It was able to go, scope-wise, go other places, you know. So, obviously, pilots usually throw a bunch of money into to make it work, be effective. So anyway, like I said last time, they kept the line in that Hemmer says in the preview. I'm not crazy about it. Yeah, so he basically fixes the transporter, gets the crew beamed up, and the engineer guy who's beaming them up, he's like, "How'd you do that?" "I'm a genius." I don't like that line. I think that's so stupid. It's like, we don't need you to tell us you're a genius, okay? We see the action. You're a genius. Actions speak louder than words. There you go. But his next line was more effective. I think would have been a lot better if the transporter guy was like, "Hey, how'd you do it?" And he says, "Move quickly." That's it. Like, we don't have time to talk, really. Like, this is now. We got to get these guys beamed aboard. So, super interesting there. You know, classic. They got the landing party beamed up, except Pike and Spock are down on the planet waiting to be beamed up themselves. And, of course, they can't once they beam everyone else back. The massive storm is interfering with like everything, communications, all that stuff. So, the away jackets, awesome sauce. Awesome. Great nod to the cage. Love those jackets. I want one of those jackets so bad. I watched a video, Trek Yards, Captain Foley put out. He was at Star Trek Mission Chicago, and they had a whole display of costumes and like miniature models of the Enterprise for Strange New Worlds. So you got to see up close, personal, what the costumes look like, and that jacket was on a Hemmer mannequin like thing, and man, that jacket's beautiful. It's so cool. The designers are really, you know, doing it well, I think. Unfortunately, I know I keep saying this, I'm a broken record. It's not canon to me, but I love the alternative look. Like, if this show was set in the future, I would dig it so much more. I really would, you know. Obviously you can't use Pike unless he gets frozen or something, or hey, maybe he gets rescued from the planet. Not rescued. He went there willingly. Let's say him and, forgive me, I don't remember her name. Let's say Sarah. That's probably not it. Yeah, they get their looks back somehow. Or they have descendants. There you go. And then you have a new Pike for the future. See? You could have done that. And I would have been totally on board. But whatever. I digress. Yeah. Love those jackets. Super cool. I'm sure that's the other thing I wanted to say. At Mission Chicago, they were selling the boots for the show, and I think they were like $500. They looked pretty cool, but if I'm going to pay that much, I don't think I'd ever wear them. I'd be too afraid, like, to hurt the leather and stuff. You know how that happens when you get a new pair of boots and you put that crease in the toe area. Like, oh, I can't imagine paying $500 and doing that. And it's like, ugh, no way. They'd have to be on they had to be in the case, I guess, or just walk flat-footed when you wear them. But yeah, that jacket has got to be thousands of dollars. Has to be easily that much. So maybe someone will do a nice knockoff of it and I can buy it. I would really like to have a jacket like that. It's so sharp. But yeah, that's what's really cool is like their uniforms. You want them. Even though I have critical issues of the show, still dig what I see. I still like it. What other things can we talk about? I don't know if a lot of people out there, probably not. I guess it's probably internet based, but it is also the day the episode premieres. So I had a lot of buffering issues watching this episode. And I think every episode I have a lot of buffering issues. So perhaps it's my internet. I'm not quite sure. I ended up downloading the episode and it ran, of course, a lot smoother once I was able to do that. So I think I'll do that from now on because it was really hard to get into the episode because, I kept getting the buffering icon and it kept taking me out of it. So I downloaded it. So yeah, they get aboard and number one's, she's like Extremis from Iron Man 3. For those who know that reference. Yeah, that was really shocking when she just stood up and went red. I was like, whoa, what's going on? This is crazy. So yeah, I was, that's what started it really. And then, yeah, as time went on, everyone else was getting affected and she wasn't, which I guess I thought she was just really strong. Turns out she is strong. I loved Spock and Pike on the planet. Very cool. I don't think we got as much as we could have out of that. I think it was a little bit underwhelming. Still liked the situation they were in. You could pretty much predict what happened to the Elorians. But it was fine. It was still fine. It was a good episode. Pretty solid. I loved Ethan Peck's really channeling Leonard Nimoy. Like I said before, I think Nimoy, not Nemoid. I'm sorry. Like I said before, I think he does a better job than Zachary Quinto. I do. Zachary Quinto has the look because he really looks like a Nimoy clone, which is crazy. But Ethan Peck does a good job. He delivered a lot of fascinating lines. That was really cool. And I think he's really got the dialogue down pretty damn well. So, I mean, he's played Spock now more than Zach has. So, he's got that up on him. Yeah, really cool visuals. A lot of questions, though, like pertaining to the Lightning People, which, spoilers, turns out to be the Elorians, which is a very sad story. So, they basically, they are an enhanced species. And, of course, Starfleet's against any gene adjustment, and that goes back through all of Star Trek, I believe. So hats off to them for recognizing that and kind of staying true to that. But very sad. These people basically, they tried to reverse their enhancements, and I guess it led them to go mad, and they went running into the storm and became the storm. It's not very well explained, and perhaps when I get another pass at the show, I'll pick up on it more. But yeah, them screaming and flying, that was kind of trippy. It felt like it would have been a good Halloween episode. But it was really effective. And yeah, of course, their motives were friendly. They protected Spock and Pike from the storm, which I'm not sure if that's why they were trying to get into the facility that Spock and Pike were in, because they knew it wasn't going to hold the storm's power. The windows would break and they'd get sucked out or whatever the hell. So it also hurt Spock too, and Pike, but Pike was trying to shoot it. So Spock wasn't, though. I don't believe so. So yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, why did they hurt Spock? Did they just miss, or I don't know. But anyway, back on the ship, the one person I thought would keep it together, Hemmer, he gets infected and beams up the core of the planet, which is nuts. He's like, we're almost there. It's going to be so glorious. Number one's like, what? And that's my other issue is I don't believe everyone on the ship is infected. I believe there's a large number of people, but the ship I think has got 300 people on it, possibly. I'm not sure. You can't tell me there's no security in those areas that Hemmer and Khan's descendant went to. It was all number one had to, take up the mantle and go get him. It just felt kind of dumb. I don't know. Again, it's a nitpick. I know Trek hasn't been fantastic with storytelling always, and we allow us old fans allow some of the shortcomings of the older shows. So yeah, that was just kind of confusing to me. And also I know they extended the med bay, but it's like you had 300 beds. Like, where did you get those from? They probably beamed them, created them, I guess. They do that now. So perhaps that's what happened. But yeah, the doctor was being very mysterious in why he didn't want Hemmer to look at his medical transporter, which I think was used to get the crew back to the ship to begin with. And then, of course, we later find out, tragically, he's kept his daughter in the pattern buffer because she's got this rare form of leukemia. And it's very heartbreaking. They did a pretty good job tugging at the heartstrings. It just kind of makes me feel like, is Starfleet just a bunch of dicks running things? I just think the doctor could have came to them and said, hey, my daughter, I really want to cure her. Is there anything we can do? There's a lot of secrets on this ship, we come to find out number one's able to adapt to this light attraction because she's a Lorian, which is whoa, that's crazy. I mean, there is a lot of room to go with number one on, or take her character in many directions. I'm sure the novels, and I know there's a comic book series about Pike that went into more adventures of that crew. So I don't know. There's room for them to add things to her character, which I'm fine with. I'm not totally against it. Except Alorians can't join Starfleet. So I was like, well, immediately she's fired. Except, she's not going to be because she's a vital part of the cast and the show itself. So that's not going to happen. Her and Khan's descendant had a good dynamic, a friendship, which I think they touched upon maybe the first episode or so. That's kind of weird to me, how she talks of Khan as his descendant, that is, talks of Khan like he's her great uncle, when in fact, it's isn't it 200-300 years in the past Khan did his mischief? Does that really stick with a family that long? Wouldn't the family change their last name? You would think so, right? You think it wouldn't be so fresh anymore. And it also messes things up because number one knows who Khan is. So that leads me to believe it's taught in the academy. But that goes against canon, which again, this is not canon. Okay, this is just further proof. I'm sorry. But yeah, Kirk, Spock, and crew had no knowledge of Khan. I mean, yes, they had historical records, but you think some red flags would have gone up. And I really hope they don't try on this show to retcon why they didn't know. I think that's really stupid. It's just like what they did in season 2 of Discovery at the end. Discovery never existed, spore drive, blah, 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 nothing. It's all good, right? We got all matched up to canon. No, you don't. Sorry, you don't. So I have an issue with that. It's very intriguing and fascinating. And I like the character I like Khan's descendant. I think it's cool. But it's too soon. It's too soon. So anyway, they both kind of share similarities now. They've both been, I don't think we have to find this out still, but I don't think his descendant has Khan's abilities, all the genetic enhancements. I don't think she has. So I guess her number one what they only have in common is their family line came from genetic enhancements. Number one has them still, and Khan's descendant doesn't. So I'm glad they explained why she picked up Hemmer so easily. And I was fine with that shot, but it felt kind of like odd, like there was no struggle. And then they did that slow motion shit, like that Armageddon, like, we're going to save the world walk. And I didn't like that at first. I thought that was really, took too much time away from what was happening and slowed the pace down. But I'm glad they explained it. I think seeing it for a second time, I'll take it in better, I guess. But yeah. So overall, I liked the episode. Beautifully done. I love Pike. He's a fan of number one, and told her basically he'll deal with Starfleet. You know, he's keeping her on. She's the best first officer in the fleet, and so yeah, he's keeping her on. So I respect that, and obviously knew that was going to be the case. So if she's Elorian, I did look up in memory Alpha Elorians. I think it's spelled right. But yeah, that's Guinan's race. So that's interesting. So is Guinan genetically enhanced? I'm sure many of you out there know the answer to that, and forgive me because I don't. But in my readings, I couldn't really find that. So perhaps there is a little difference there. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty damn good episode. And I hope the Doctor gets Kira's daughter. I hope that pays off. That's so sad to me. And yeah, they're going to allow him to keep her in the pattern buffer on a separate power supply. So that's nice. But I don't know if Pike will know about that or not. But yeah, overall, solid still. The show's really, it's going well. It really is. It's consecutively still delivering, right? It doesn't have peaks and valleys to it. It's pretty steady. You know, I'd say the pilot was probably a high point, and then it went a little steady from there with some high points. But I'm digging it so far. I really am. I'm happy with what I see. And I hope you guys out there are too. And of course, yeah, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Please comment. Please make it nice. I hope you can do that. I really appreciate that. We just released a new episode of Star Trek Mission Report, where we covered the finale of Star Trek Picard, and basically the first episode of Strange New Worlds. So please check that out. And Steve and I and Bill are going to go see Star Trek The Motion Picture, the director's cut, coming up Monday on the 23rd, I believe. Very excited about that. That's, of course, the 4K cut that's on Paramount Plus now. But, of course, we get to see it in the theater. And I'm very excited about that. And, of course, I'm excited to own it as soon as it comes out, which will be September, I believe. So we got a lot of things to offer you coming up. Of course, Field of Geeks itself, the network, has a lot to offer as well. We're working on some merchandise for everyone out there. If you'd like a shirt or cup or anything, we just appreciate the listens. Really, we do. We love doing this, and we hope you like it. And yeah, please join us again. I'll be back, and so will everyone else. Until then, live long and prosper.